parks here in Sanilac County. Mr. Faber?
Well, I think I'm one of the most proud citizens up here today, and I think we have some of the greatest parks in this state, if not many others. I visited quite a few all around the state, from the Upper Peninsula down to Ohio, and I think that we really have some beautiful land here, and we need to be showing it off. However, I think that we need to be accountable, and if just because we spend $1 million and we bring in 500,000, we need to look at our budget stream, and we need to make sure that it is a balanced budget. Also, I think that the people that we're bringing in, and being tourism being one of our top revenue sources and one of the greatest things in Michigan, I think also the nice thing about that is we're bringing people to the county, they're visiting our churches, they're coming to our stores, they're eating out, they're helping us here that have a business, they're helping us prosper and being able to have a good business in the future. Thank you.
Mr. Calkins?
I think our county parks are probably one of the best kept secrets around us. I mean, we have beautiful shoreline, we have great campsites, and I think they're underutilized. On the same token, I think they ought to be run efficiently, they ought to be clean, they ought to be well presented, and they need to how do you say it, operate in a business sense. They need to pay for themselves. We've had the opportunity, we camp outside the area and in the area, and there's nothing better than our parks, and they need to be utilized by more people outside of the area to bring in a revenue income for the small businesses, the restaurants, the churches, as Jeff said, all the aspects to show what life we have in Sanilac County, to show our benefits to the people that live outside the area.
Next, we'll hear from Mr. Schramm.
I agree we have real nice parks, but one of the problems I see is the revenue goes just for the specific parks around the county. As a former commissioner, I found it interesting to listen to other counties and what they do, and their park villages, just like some of our other villages that we have here in the county, each entity, each township, each village, and each city gets a piece of that money. Whether it's 50 cents per head or $1 per head, they get a part of that. The first $20,000 could go per capita, and then the rest could be put towards keeping our parks in the position that they're in right now. Thank you.
We have a question here that's directed to Mr. Faber, but if the other candidates want to respond to it, we will give them the opportunity also. The question is this: since the county commissioner's position is not a full-time position, would you support elimination of the taxpayer-paid health care benefits for commissioners? Mr. Faber?
Thank you. At this point in time, no, I would not vote in favor of eliminating that position. I have looked at positions all over the state and our region, and I think that we need some benefits. We need good people in there, and we can't always expect folks to do these jobs for nothing. I've talked to many different township supervisors and things to that extent, and a lot of them are making more than our county commissioners are. I know before this budget, I spoke with Jim Bowerman, and I spoke with a few other commissioners, and a few of them had talked and had said that talked about eliminating it and raising the pay. And a few of them had asked what my opinion was on it, and I said, I think rather than raise the pay, I don't feel a pay increase would be responsible, and I think that it should be leave as such. Thank you.
Mr. Calkins would like to respond to this question also.
I think when it comes to the benefits that the commissioners get paid, not only income or benefits, this is not a job you go for the money or the benefits. This is a give back job. This is a job that you do for the people of Sanilac County. And I think that when you're looking at budgets and you're talking to individual departments, that everything's on the table. And if the health insurance for the commissioners need to be cut or looked at, then it needs to be looked at and considered.
Mr. Schramm?
I'm not sure that I really agree that we should have benefits if you are a commissioner, but I also think that the commissioner's salary is pretty low compared to other counties. I listened to what they're getting in other counties, and they're getting $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 to do a part-time job, and they aren't working any harder than the commissioners in this county. But rather than have benefits, I think that the salary maybe should be $500 to $1,000 more, or make it $8,000 or $9,000 for every one of them, and instead of worrying about the benefits for each one of them.
I have one more question, and this one's directed to Mr. Calkins. And the other candidates have the opportunity to also respond if they so choose. What do you see as the single most important issue facing Sanilac County? Mr. Calkins?
One of the issues that I think is very important is jobs and job opportunities for the future generation. Not only existing citizens of the county, but future generations. We are a farming community, but we need to look elsewhere. When the farming community is getting less and less labor intensive, and we need to be able to look at present businesses and see how they want to expand first, and then possibly go outside the area and look at businesses that want to expand outside of where their home base is as possibly a second location, and encourage them to come to Sanilac County and see what we have to offer.
Sure. I like
Mr. Faber will be next.
Of course, I think the most thing that's concerning our county is our budget, and I think we need to get it under control. I think we need to have a conservative mind in there. I think it needs to be a balanced budget. I think we need to think of the future for us, our kids, my godchildren, all of them. I think we need to think of them in mind and not just what is there today. I promise you to have an honest opinion and vote, and to be open-minded. One of the things I had talked to a fellow constituent that I was talking to in the area, and we were talking about different things and how we create revenues for being able to promote jobs. And one of the things that he had said, rather than allowing tax abatements and allowing all these things, he says, why don't you just get out of the way and allow us to do what we do best? And that's the opinion that I have.
Now we'll hear from Mr. Schramm.
It's easy to say that jobs or money or things like that are things that we should be worried about, because we should be. But I think that it's important for commissioners, as it is at the state level, the national level, is to have more than a one-year plan. Have a 2 or 3 year plan so that you can prepare for the things that happen in the future. Schools do this. I think it's important that counties do this, and the state does this, and the national government does this. Thank you.
Would you join me in thanking these candidates for Next, we'll have the candidates from District 3 come forward. There are 4 candidates running for this position. 2 of them are present this evening. We have Cynthia Gardner, Alan Broughton, John Hoffman, and Lynn Laughlin. So with that, I would ask Mr. Broughton if he would come forward and give his opening statement. Mr. Brand.
Good evening. I would like to thank the Farm Bureau for the opportunity tonight. It's so good to get so many people together to talk about our government. Welcome to everyone and the listening audience out there on WMIC. I'm running for County Commissioner for District 3, which is Sanilac and Lexington Township, the village of Port Sanilac, Lexington, and the city of Croswell. I was born and raised in Deckerville and graduated from Deckerville Community Schools. Growing up in a household where my father was a local businessman, I understood the pressures of small business owners in Sanilac County. But I also saw the amount of people that he hired and the business he conducted within the community, and I think that's a very important element that we need to take a look at. We need Sanilac County to get back to supporting the small businesses in Sanilac County and promote growth of jobs in this area. Farming was also an important part of my background. My wife Martha grew up on a farm near Argyle. I helped my uncle farm out on Palms Road in northern Sanilac County. I attended Central Michigan University, graduated a bachelor's degree in 1971, and taught at the Marlette Community Schools for 5 years. In 1976, I received my master's degree and became the junior-senior high school principal at Deckerville Community School for 19 years. In 1995, I became superintendent of schools at Deckerville Community Schools. After 13 years, I retired in June of 2008. Since then, I've been interim superintendent at 2 additional schools, at Kingston Community Schools and at Sandusky Community Schools, and I appreciate using those skills that I picked up over the years to go in and help 2 districts that I really enjoyed to help them. And I think a lot of these skills I picked up working in different schools will help my skills as a county commissioner. I think I have the ability to listen to all people and to get their ideas and their concerns. I've been involved in several building construction and renovation projects and brought them to a successful conclusion and under budget. I have the ability to develop and monitor a school budget with a declining enrollment and keeping it balanced while providing a good education for the students that we serve. I've successfully negotiated several contracts for employees over the years. I have a proven track record for facing difficult challenges head-on and achieving efficient and effective solutions. Let's face facts. You can't live in Sanilac County without recognizing we face challenges. I can put decades of problem-solving experience to work for you and the other good people of Sanilac County. You can be a problem solver too by voting for me on election day. Thank you.
Really know who I am since I'm a newcomer to at least people call me a newcomer to Sanilac County. I came here, first bought property here in 1987, so that makes me a relative newcomer. Let me give you my background though. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, went to school, high school there, and then I went on to Bucknell University, which is a little school in the central part of Pennsylvania. From there, I went into the Navy, and I stayed in the Navy for 21 years as an aviator. Served with the 6th Fleet on the USS Roosevelt during the Cold War years in the 60s in the Med, and then also went to Vietnam in 1970 and 71, where I served in country with naval aviation units. When I got out of the Navy, it's when I came to Michigan. I was fortunate enough to get a job with what was in the Park Davis Company in Holland, Michigan. I worked there for several years and then went to the headquarters of what became, from Park Davis, was Warner Lambert Company, bought them. I worked there for a couple of years, then I came back to Rochester, Michigan, where I was the general manager of the Park Davis Sterile Products Facility. In 1986, I left there and started my own engineering firm in Warren, Michigan. And that firm is still operating today with my son, among other people. We have 18 professional employees there doing consulting and engineering worldwide. So one of the reasons some of the people ask me, what are the reasons I'm running for county commissioner? I'm probably a little more along in the tooth than anybody else that's running. And if you want to know how old I am, I'm 77. Have a wife of 55 years, 5 children, 16 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. But I'm still pretty active. I still get in the dirt. If you want to look at my hands from coming out of my garden every day, that's what it looks like. I'm active in my farm over in Speaker Township, where we just primarily do hay and tree farming. But I would like to serve the county because I have a good background in business, in government, and in budgeting. And one of the things I notice about the county commissioner's primary job is budgeting, to manage the budget, manage the revenues against the expenditures. And there's 2 areas that I have very serious concerns about that don't show up very often in the reports that you see. One is that our unfunded pension liability is increasing each year here. We've not taken any steps to deal with that. If you look at the actuarial reports, 30 seconds, I'll never make it. Actuarial reports are still assuming a 7% yield. In the last 2 years, I haven't seen it for 2011 yet, it's not out, but the 2 years before that, the actual yield was 3%. So we're losing 4% every year on our assumptions. That's a big concern to me. And the other one is the OPEB, other post-employment benefits. We have a $6 million liability where we provide health insurance. We pay for it out of the general fund every year. Thank you.
Our first question for these candidates is in regards to the county park system. what is your opinion of the county parks here in Sanilac County? Mr. Broughton?
We have to look at all employment opportunities and opportunities for business improvement in Sanilac County. We are the sunrise part of the state. I think we're a gem here that needs to be discovered. That doesn't mean that we just go carte blanche. As anything else, a park needs to be run as a business. We provide good services, good clean sites, people will come. If you talk to the campers that come up, we're an hour and a half ride from Detroit versus 4 hours up north. So I think we have a great opportunity to develop these parks. I know the park board is working very diligently with the funds they have to develop them. I think we need to continue to develop our parks, but make them good so that it adds to the benefit of Sanilac County. I'm a lifelong Sanilac County person. I just want to see our county continue to grow.
Mr. Hoffman?
I too am a supporter of the parks. I think everybody here is going to say they're going to be a supporter of the parks. You'd be foolish not to say that. But I think there's some things we can do with the parks to make sure that they pay their way as they go, that we're not subsidizing them. It's nice to have people come up here as tourists and leave their dollars at the stores and so forth, but they need to leave their dollars at the parks if we provide them a good park. And they'll do that. If you look at the private parks that are along the shoreline in Forester and Sanilac Township, they're always full, and they pay a good price to go to those parks. So we can do that too with our parks, and as good as they are, they can be better and pay their way.
Our next question for these candidates, with the new county jail being built in the county, how will the county pay off the debt if the federal prisoners are no longer housed in the county jail? Mr. Broughton?
The jail project is set up to be funded by a revenue stream. One way that you keep the revenue stream coming is making sure that that jail is run properly. So the federal prisoners come up, it's a relationship that the sheriff and the department has with those people. So if things do get tight, you always look at the people that are the most efficient and run the most efficient operation. I think that's essential. So we will have an operation that is second to none, therefore will be primary user of that. It's needed. I agree with the other speakers. There will always be a need for the jail, unfortunately, and that will take, hopefully, the onus off the taxpayers of Sanilac County.
Mr. Hoffman?
I've, like many others, have followed the controversy over the jail, but I kind of feel this way about the jail. It's like from the movie, The Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And the reason they come here from the federal government is because it's cheaper. They can send them here cheaper than they can do it themselves. If it gets to be the point, it won't happen, but if it gets to be the point there are less federal prisoners, they'll close down federal prisons and keep sending them to Sanilac County. We're not going to run out of prisoners here.
Our next question is, what changes do you want to bring to Sanilac County as a county commissioner? And what do you believe makes you the best candidate for that position? Mr. Broughton?
I think the county has to have a long-range plan. You can't go from budget year to budget year. You have to project out there, where do you want Sanilac County to go? We all want more jobs. We all want our parks to be better. We want things to be better run. That is done by planning. I spent my life planning long-range plans. I know it's the education field, but it's the same concept. You get people in groups like this, you talk to them, you get people together and come up with ideas. Yes, there are challenges, but challenges can be overcome. The jail took 8 years, but it's going to get done. But I just believe that we need to think ahead and not just go from crisis to crisis. That's how you manage a county, and that's how we'll make Sanilac County a better place, and that's my goal.
Mr. Hoffman?
Well, when I'm county commissioner, I'll probably use Al as one of my consultants because he knows a lot about that stuff. I think that the objective really is to make sure that this county is fiscally happy and fiscally responsible. And the way things are now, we are not in our unfunded liabilities. It's just like in the state where we have, is Mr. Muxo here yet? We have $45 billion of unfunded liability in pension and health care costs at the state government level. We have only here in Sanilac County We have $6 billion unfunded liability in healthcare costs for post-retirement, which we have not provided for. Now, if you think that's going to go down every year, you're probably smoking the wrong kind of stuff. That's going to go up every year. If we take that out of the general fund every year, it's going to be more expensive every year. We need to find a way to fund that and or examine what are we doing with that money, including no benefits for the commissioners.
That concludes the questions for these candidates. Let's show our appreciation for them being here.